Hey guys, I wanted to put together a little IGTV about my favorite locations. So this is one of the most asked questions that I get from clients is where do I shoot? This is definitely something that we collaborate together on because this is your session and I want you to feel really awesome wherever we shoot. But the number one thing I do want you to remember is that it's less about the location as it is about you. Okay, it's about how you look at the location and how you look in the light there because you might see a location and think it looks really awesome, but it depends on the time of day that we're shooting there. It depends on the lighting and also what you're wearing, but we'll kind of get to that in a second. So first things first, if you just want to do a quick you know, run through of some locations, you can always visit my blog because I have blogged for years now. I blog all my model team, my influencer team sessions. So there's a lot of content there and there's a lot of obviously different locations on my blog. So that's a really good place to get some fun ideas. When you do book with me, I send you a really long, in-depth, what to wear, how to prep email. So it's basically like a checklist and it goes over like what to wear. And we also talk about locations and we talk about everything because I want you guys to be 100% prepared. It also has a video that comes along with that. So you're going to get that. And along with that comes a list of some locations, whether it be local or beachy, but I kind of need to know what you're thinking first before I can send you because there's so much information. So I at least want to get an idea of if you even have an idea, right? So some people are like, well, I don't know, but I know I want it to be green and pretty. Or I don't really know, but I want to wear these dresses. Well, where would this look good? Some people know that they want something urban. So we have to think about that. Okay, do we want to go downtown LA or do we want to go to stay local to Santa Clarita and shoot in Newhall? So there's a lot of different options there. I'm going to talk a little bit about each of those a little bit in this IGTV as well that you can kind of refer back to. So first of all, that collaboration that we do is really important. So when I send you that email and we start talking about it, make sure you get back to me and let me know what you're kind of thinking. And if you have no idea, that's totally fine too. Maybe looking through my blog, you might see somebody's session that might spark something like, okay, well, I like this, but I don't want exactly that. And so then I can lead you down a different path. So specifically, and I apologize if there's noise, I'm at the studio recording this and there's some noise in the hallway because of course there is. So let's talk first about Santa Clarita locations. Now, a lot of my clients who are from here are like, I don't want to stay in Santa Clarita because it's summer and everything is dead and it's all brown and nothing is green. That's not true. You just got to know where to look. So I have a few little secret spots that I love. Some are obviously not secret, but some are, right? But it really depends on what you want. If you want that desert vibe, that's obviously pretty easy. We can kind of shoot anywhere here because it's very deserty. We can even go up to Palmdale. There's some areas up in Lancaster, Palmdale, almost like on the road to Vegas, not quite that far, obviously, that really kind of look like Palm Springs. So that's kind of fun if you want like a very deserty vibe. There's also Vasquez Rocks, which is one of my favorite places to shoot, but it is very specific, right? Because it's really rocky. Now, we don't have to just get just those rock facades in the images. You can, there's actually greenery there. There's some really cool, there's cool trees, there's different rock formations. The color palette there is really pretty. Now in the summer, it is going to be mostly that color palette of browns and yellows, a little bit of a green tree every once in a while. But in like February through early April, it's so beautiful. It's very green. And that's one of my favorite time of the year to shoot there in general. So there's that. There's Placerita Nature Preserve. That's also really pretty. That's usually pretty green year round, just depending on where. And the thing about that is there are different areas there. So there's the underpass, which is like, there's like a wash that goes underneath it. So that's a little bit more industrial looking with the concrete walls and floors, the ground. And then most of the rest of it is just really natural. There's a trail that I like to shoot on. And then there's that little house in the beginning. So that's a really cool little local spot too. Towsley Canyon is also another one of my favorites. There's a little nook there that's kind of just up up a little ways. That's really pretty and green. It has some really beautiful backlighting. And obviously there's a longer trail there too, but that's more of that deserty vibe. There is a little secret spot down Bouquet Canyon Road that doesn't really have an address that I love to shoot at. It's probably one of my favorite spots. You've seen it a lot, probably on my social feeds and on my website, because it is a small spot. Literally looks like hardly anything from the road, but it photographs beautifully. The light is gorgeous. It's usually a little bit cooler because it's up the canyon a little bit. We don't have cell reception, so just got to make sure that your people know that you're not, you're going off grid for a little bit. But there is a really beautiful green area where the trees like have this green, yellow, beautiful foliage, and there's water back there. So you can either get in the water or you can just have it in the background. But what's great about the water is that it keeps everything green. So like some of these images that I've been taking there recently, it looks like we're like in Hawaii. It looks so lush. Does not look like Santa Clarita, and it's like 20 minutes up the canyon. So that's one of my favorite places. And then even further down is like the falls, Bouquet Canyon Falls. Now, it's a little tricky because you kind of have to hike into that. It's a lot more entailed. I don't do that location for small sessions. So my choice session, which is just my hour-long session, I don't even offer that one as an option to go to, because by the time we hike in and everything, it's, we've taken a few pictures and then we have to be done. So that one's only available for the image session or the experience session. But there is an actual waterfall. And so, if you're game for it, throw on some water shoes or some flip-flops, or go barefoot if you're really brave and get in there. And then there's water lake on the other side of it too. So that's a really cool area, but there is hiking involved in that one. The one that I was just talking about previously, the little smaller location on Bouquet Canyon, there's really we just park right up to it. You don't have to hike in. It's really easy. So that's really nice about that. Placerita, there's a little bit of walking. Towsey, a little bit of walking. Like most of the locations have a little bit of walking, even Vasquez. So you just have to kind of keep that in mind. And then downtown, Old Town Newhall Main Street is actually really kind of a fun little urban look. I have shot there for the last few years. It changes a lot recently. So we, sometimes some things are not going to be the same as they normally are, but I love the different colored walls that we have there. And we're able to get like kind of that city street vibe, which is really fun. And then not far from that is Hart Park. So sometimes we'll do a combination of Newhall and Hart Park too. If somebody wants something really natural, because there's a couple of really cute little spots there that's really green, usually year round. And then Heritage Junction, which is inside of Hart Park on the other side of it, has some cute little buildings. And that can be really kind of fun too, if you want to have different color, different vibe. And it's usually pretty out there too. There are some other hiking trails and things like that. For the most part, that's kind of like my Santa Clarita go-to. I am always up to try new locations. So if somebody comes to me and says, hey, I'd love to shoot here, I'm going to make it work. If that's where you want to shoot, I'm going to make it work. We may have to shoot at a specific time of day, but it's totally doable. The Tesoro Adobe House is another one that I forgot about. A lot of people don't even know this exists. It's actually an LA County park, and it is not the Tesoro community by the lake. That's not what I'm talking about, although that's pretty. What I'm talking about is just further up the hill in Tesoro. It is a little adobe. It's basically a couple of adobe houses. It used to be owned by William S. Hart, maybe? I can't remember. Or maybe it was the other guy. There's another guy. I'm not really good on my Santa Clarita history because I didn't grow up here. But the point being that these buildings are really, really old. They were built a long time ago. And so they preserved them because they're adobe and they're so cute. And so they built Tesoro Adobe Park. You can look it up. Basically around the houses. And it's this small, it's not a very big park, but it's really beautiful because it's very well kept. So there's a really beautiful little garden. There's the front part of the house that's really cool. I've done prom shoots there a lot. The only thing about that park is that it closes early at 5. So we just have to make sure that we shoot earlier than that. But that's one of my favorite little spots to shoot at. And then Castaic Lake can be really fun too. You got to pay the $12 to get in. but I love shooting around Castaic Lake. And also there's another little hidden gem in Castaic as well. That's really fun. Oh, and then all the way down San Francisco is where the dam broke. Now that's a hike. So that's a longer session. We'll only go there for, like, you know, the image or the experience sessions, because you have to park and walk in. It's very rugged. Sometimes you don't know what's going to be out there, but it's really cool. There's a lot of different, you can see where the dam actually broke. So you can see like all the little different pieces out there. There used to be water out there. I don't know if there's water out there now. It's been a couple of years since I've been out there, but it's usually pretty green, and there's always really kind of fun stuff to find. So that's another fun location in Santa Clarita. But again, there's a lot out here that you wouldn't think is. And so just reach out and ask me what you know, like, just let me know what you are actually going for, what kind of vibe you like, and we'll make it happen. And then as far as beaches, I do have some favorites. So it depends on if you want something a little urban and beach, because here's the thing. Beach is great, but you don't want your whole session at a beach. And again, I don't even go to the beach for the choice session. Like, choice sessions only Santa Clarita locations and ones that don't involve a lot of hiking, right? But the image and experience sessions, we can go out to the beach. So it just depends, like, what kind of look you want. Once you're at the beach, that's it. We don't know what's going to happen with your hair. We don't know how busy, like how windy it's going to be, how busy it is going to be at the beach. Like, some beaches are a lot more packed than others, depending on the day. If it's a weekend, got to take that into consideration. Are you going to feel comfortable on a beach, taking pictures, that kind of stuff? So those are all little things that I need you to be thinking about. But in general, if you mention that you want a beach, so the first thing I'm going to ask you is, okay, do you want beach and like natural, like a little trail, or do you want beach and urban? Because we can't really shoot in downtown LA and then go all the way to the beach because of the drive time. It's just going to eat up way too much of the session time. So if you want something urban, Abbot Kinney Boulevard is perfect for that, because it's 5 minutes from Venice Beach. So, and it's really, really cute. And it's a lot cleaner than like the Venice Boardwalk. So I shoot down on Abbot Kinney all the time. They have beautiful murals, really awesome stores. It's usually really clean. There are people there, so you have to be aware that there are people going to be out and about no matter what day it is. Even now, you know, during quarantine, people are still out and about. So that's really, really pretty. It's one of my favorite places. And then we just drive 5 minutes and finish at the beach. So we'll shoot the last one or two outfits at the beach. And that beach can be busy on the weekends, so you do have to kind of think about that. The other thing is Malibu. Malibu is always going to be probably my favorite place to shoot for beach stuff, because I have this little beach that I know about that looks like it's private, but it's not. And so it's usually never really crowded. Hardly ever. I think I've only been there one time where there's been a ton of people, and it was a weekend, and it was odd. Like, normally on the weekends, like, nobody really even knows about this beach. So that's probably one of my favorite places to shoot if we're going to shoot at a beach in Malibu. Now, before that, we can shoot at various hiking trails. There's Solstice Canyon that I love to shoot at. We don't walk the whole hiking trail because that's too far. Although I have done it once for Rachel Kupfer, because I love you, Rachel, but it was too far. We just usually stay in the beginning parts of it, and then we head to the beach from there. There's also this really cool little hiking trail that I know about by Pepperdine. It's really close. It's easy. There's actually a bathroom there that's really nice. And then, you know, the other, like the beach that I was talking about is there. So if you want a rocky beach, there's a couple different options. Obviously, El Matador is always a favorite for people, but there's a lot of steps. It's super rugged. We don't really know sometimes with the tide, it can get really high. So there's a lot of things to think about when we're talking about El Matador, and it will always be packed, like always. There's never a day that beach is not packed with people. So you have to be aware of that. But there's also another beach called, I forget what it's called, but it's at the end of, it's on the tip, Westward. I think it's called Westward Beach. And it's further out in Malibu, not far from where El Matador is. And it's basically it's like at the bottom of Point Doom. So there is like a rocky area there, but then there's also an area with no rocks. And that's actually a really fun beach to shoot at, because there are public bathrooms there. It does tend to be a little busy sometimes. They film there a lot. So sometimes you show up and there's a film crew, and then you have to have a plan B, or at least stay out of their way. So that's one of my favorite places to shoot to. But again, open to suggestions. And there's always Santa Monica too. If someone's open to shooting down in Santa Monica and dealing with the crowds, I'm all for it. We can shoot up in the little area at top where it's nice and green. We can shoot around 3rd Street Promenade, and then we can go down to the pier. Now, when you go into the park, the actual amusement park, and you have a camera, they're going to flag you immediately and ask you not to shoot there because it's really hard to get a permit there. I have shot inside the park before, but with permission. So usually what we do is just shoot on the outside of the park just because it's a pain in the butt to get permission. And so we don't really need to be inside of it. If you want an amusement park shoot, then we have to plan for that. We have to ask permission and get a permit and all that kind of stuff. But underneath the pier is super cool. It's not clean, not gonna lie. It stinks, smells really bad, and there's a lot of homeless people, but it's really pretty. So I love shooting underneath the pier, and then I like shooting at the end of the pier and then like backing up to all the lights like that are coming off of the Ferris wheel and stuff. That's really pretty. So that's always an option. And then there's downtown. So downtown LA, I'm always going to suggest the Arts District first because it's the coolest and hippest sort of like area, because you can walk like a span of 3 blocks and basically it looks like you shot in 3 different cities. So that's always going to be my favorite because there's so many different things. Again, so many homeless people. Cannot like explain this to you. You have to be prepared for the fact that there's going to be a lot of homeless people. It's not going to smell great. Bathrooms are not easy to come by. So that's the other issue as well. But I have a little area that I always love to go to. So I'll kind of talk about that first. And then there's, I've shot around the library. That's really beautiful too. Different kind of vibe, a little bit more upscale, a little bit more cleaner backgrounds, more city, like true city. Then there's also the area by the Disney Music Hall and the Broad Museum, which is a little bit more city-ish too. Really cool area. Across from Disney Music Hall is Grand Park. That's a really cool area. I've shot there at night with the lights coming up. Again, this all depends on like kind of what's open at what time of year, but that area is really, really pretty too in downtown LA. Wherever we go in downtown, there's going to be homeless people no matter what. So you have to be really prepared for that. And it just kind of depends. Like if you want like a cleaner, more like, like not traditional, that's not the right word, but more city. The Arts District is a little bit more artsy, a little bit more grungy. You still get that city vibe, but you have so much art. It's so cool. So much color, basically. So it really kind of depends what you want. And there's also Griffin Park. So if you want the Hollywood sign, we can do that. I'm forgetting about a couple other spaces too, but in around that Griffin Park area, there's some cool spots as well. But point being, reach out and let me know what you even have in mind, then I can help point you in that direction. I'm happy to customize something. I love shooting at new places, and I'm literally can make anything work. That's my job, to make the light work for me. And I'll bring in lighting. I'll do whatever we need to do to make it your session and personalized for you, because that's what this is all about. So hope this was helpful, and I'll talk to you guys soon.